Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to take you through an interesting financial problem and I'll also discuss the solution with you. So a family controlled enterprise has estimated the free cash flows for the next 6 years. These free cash flows are available for paying dividend. But as you can see here, the cash flows are highly volatile. It's 600 in 2024, whereas in 2027, it's turning negative 50. The shareholders, on the other hand, do not want this uncertainty in their cash flows. They want a dividend that is fixed and growing at a steady rate. They want the dividend to grow at 5%. So if the first year dividend is 100, they would expect the second year dividend to be 100 times 1 plus 5%, which is 105. And third year dividend to be 110.225 and so on. The idea here is to estimate the maximum dividend that we can pay in year one so that the company never runs out of money. When we pay 100, we notice that the company is left with a lot of money in later years. That means we are paying too less a dividend. But if I were to pay 300 in the first year, the company would run out of money in 2027 and 2028 because the amount of dividend that they would have to pay, they'll not have that much of cash left with them. So what's the ideal amount of dividend that we can pay? One approach is trial and error. We know 300 is too high and 100 is too low. So the actual number falls somewhere in between. We can keep playing around until we come to a correct number. But here I'm going to take you through a more robust solution. To come up with a solution for this problem without using trial and error, we're going to take a few steps. Step one that we're going to do is compute the cumulative cash flows. The cash flows that we've been given are 600 for the first year, 350 for the second year and so on. So we have these cash flows. I'm going to now get the running total of these cash flows. So the running total is going to be 600 for the first year. Second year is going to be 600 plus 350, 950. Then 1150, 1100, 1280 and 1680. This is the first step. Second step that we're going to do is we're going to find out what is the cumulative dividends if my first year dividend were to be 1. So if I am going to pay dividend of 1 in the first year, so it's 1x essentially. If your dividend is x, in the first year we're going to pay 1 times x. Second year we'll take 1 times 1 plus 5%, which is what I have written on the cell in cell C4, 1.05, and let me copy paste this. So if I were to pay 1 rupee dividend in first year, these are going to be my dividends in the subsequent year. Now we are going to get running total of this. So first year number is going to be 1, second year is going to be 1 plus the second year dividend, which is 1.05. Third year is going to be 2.05 plus 1.1025, that's 3.125 or 1525 and so on. Let me copy paste to get this result. Step 3, what we're going to do here is that we are going to divide cumulative cash flows or running total of cash flows with running total of dividend. So for the first year, it's going to be 600 upon 1. Second year is going to be 950 upon 2.05. Third year is going to be 1150 upon 3.1525 and so on. Our final answer is going to come in step 4, and the final answer is going to be essentially lowest of all these values. Let me get that answer here. Step 4, final dividend, or rather first year dividend is going to be minimum of all the cash flows or the number that we have here, cash flow upon dividend. As you can see here, this 231.6 which I arrived as answer, if I link it to the first year, it's growing at 5% subsequently, and the company always has cash to pay this. The lowest the cash balance is going to is 0 in 2028, when the cash flows are 180 in that year and negative 50 in the previous year, while we are still paying a dividend of 268 and 281. Now the next question is, in this case, we are assuming that these cash balances that are left in the businesses don't earn any return. But that's not likely to be the case. The company may park these funds elsewhere and we may get some returns. So we've been asked to find out what is the maximum dividend we can pay if these undistributed cash flows can earn, let's say, 6% return per annum. Because when they earn that 6% return, the interest gets added to my cash flows. And even in 2028, now I seem to have 91 of cash left. It would be good to have distributed it as dividend. So how do we approach this problem? In this case, we are going to bring in the concept of time value of money. So the modification is going to be that in step 1, instead of computing cumulative cash flows, we are going to compute cumulative present value of cash flows. So what I'm going to do is, rather than taking the cash flows of 600, I'm going to take the cash flow divided by 1 plus the rate of return. Now, in our case, the cash is being earned at the end of 2024. So in 2024, I have no time to invest this. So that's time 0 for me. So raise it to the power. The year counter, I'm starting at 0. Let me copy and paste this. So the running total we've got here is the running total of not cash flows, but present value of the cash flows. In dividend as well, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to calculate the present value of the dividend. So if 1 is my first year dividend, the present value of that is going to be 1 upon 1 plus 6%, which is in cell C5, raised to the power year. Again, our year counter is starting at 0. Let me copy paste this. And the running total I'm going to calculate is running total of not the dividend, but the running total of the present value of the dividend. So in this case, the lowest amount works out to be 246.4. And as you can see here, when we pay 246.36, we are able to give as much dividend as possible without running out of cash at any point in time. What I would like to point out at this junction is that many of us think of time value of money as something that you use for DCF valuation or for bond markets, etc. But time value of money is a very powerful concept that can be applied in lots and lots of places. And this is just another example of the same. Now, before I end this video, I'm going to challenge some of you, those of you who are interested, I'm going to challenge you to take this to the next step and think about what we can do, or what you would like to do, or how you would approach the problem if the company would like to have, let's say, at least 100 million in reserve at the end of each year. So here our balance is going to 0. We are fine with it. But let's say I don't want it to go to 0. I want it to be at least 100 at the end of every year. In that case, what would you like to do? And another thing you could think of is, we are assuming the rate of return to be flat, 6% or 10%, whatever. But what if I'm going to get different rate of interest for different years? How do you approach that problem? Try it out at your end. And for those of you who are interested and you want to understand more of these mathematical approaches to finance, do consider signing up to our program on financial mathematics with advanced Excel. We run this program time and again, and I would recommend this program for every single finance professional in the world. If you like this video, do share it and do subscribe to our channel and do like the video. Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye-bye.